Hi, and welcome to The Insecure Chef. My wife Regina and I are here today, and we're going to be preparing curry shrimp stir fry. That may not sound like a Chinese dish. It's obviously a mixture Chinese and Indian, but the Chinese will tell you that they use curry all the time, and therefore there's no reason to include the Indian. I don't think that's fair. Anyway, we'll get started. For the moment, we're going to do a marinade of the shrimp. And what I have here is about a half a pound or so. Again, this is essentially just for me, of cleaned and deveined extra large shrimp. So, they're all cleaned, as I said, they're all washed. I'm going to take that, I'm going to put them here in this bowl. All right, let's get that all in there. All right, now the marinade is a very simple thing. It's not very complicated in what it needs. So if I can get them off of paper here, we'll be ready to go. All right, there's the shrimp in there. I guess you can see that. And all I'm going to do is rinse my hands. Okay, and I'm going to be marinating it with a little salt and white pepper, cornstarch, and a half of egg white. A half of egg white. You wind up with a whole egg white. I don't think it's going to be much trouble. And then just a little canola oil on top. I've already separated the eggs here. It's not very much, half an egg, egg white. If you have any problems in doing that, there's a load of videos that can show you methodologies for quickly separating the egg from the yolk. I use the simple egg itself. I crack it and I just go back and forth and let the white drip through while I make sure that the yellow stays in the shell. So with that said, I'm going to take some, my wife told me to get these, but I'm going to be doing this all by eye because it's not that critical. I'm going to be adding to those shrimp rather. I'm going to be taking some cornstarch. I'm using a tablespoon here, so you can get a feel for how much I'm using. And the reason I can't easily give you a number is because it's really a matter of how it looks and how it's coated. So I'm going to guess somewhere between 1 and 2 tablespoons, something like that. Take a little bit more, throw that in there. All right, and now I'm going to add a little salt. Again, not much. A little black pepper.
White.
Oh, did I say black? Thank you. A little, I'm looking at it. A little white pepper. The reason I like white pepper is because I think the flavor is more flavorful and you don't see all these little black specks in your food. But if you only have black pepper, it'll work out just fine. So with that, I'm going to use my hands, get some water running so I can be ready to go. And I'm just going to kind of mix this up like this. Now you might ask, well, what happens if you use too much cornstarch? And now what do you do? Well, at worst, you're going to be adding a little oil anyway, and all you can do is shake it off, because this is just going to help us when we do the stir frying step later on. So I got that going in there, and with that, I'm going to, that looks pretty good if you see, okay? You see that's plenty coated. And now I'm just going to rinse my hands. And I'm going to add a little canola oil to it. I would say probably in the area of 2, maybe 3 teaspoons, tablespoon max. And again, I'm just going to do a little mixing up here. Alrighty. Okay. And you'll feel, they'll get wet and sticky to your hands, and it'll take most of the excess cornstarch that might have been on the bottom of the bowl. It'll kind of grab that as well.
And when do you add the egg white?
The egg white's coming in shortly. Okay. All right. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay. All right, now that I have my half of egg white, I'm going to dump that in as well. And one last time, I'm going to mix it all up. And for some reason we just disappear or everything gets dark. We are in the middle of a significant thunderstorm in the area. So it passed through before. It looks real calm out there, and that always makes me nervous. But just in case something happens, you'll know what's happening. Okay, so this is the shrimp sitting in the marinade. All right, and we will continue in a moment. Okay, we're back. What we're going to be doing at this point, when we left, you saw that we had the marinated shrimp. I'm now heating my wok up. I'm not going to make this a red hot wok like in most stir fries. I'm going to bring this down to medium heat, and I'm going to be adding about, I don't know, tablespoon or so of canola oil to the wok. And then I'm going to take the shrimp, and we're definitely going to start doing a slow brown up process. So you'll see me enter the shrimp in now, stir it around, and then we'll be back as the shrimp starts to brown up. So let's just let that oil get just a little bit hotter. If anyone has a definitive method of deciding whether you heat the oil up as you heat the wok up or add the oil after the wok is hot, I'd love to hear your opinion or results you've had either way, because I go back and forth. So anyway, I'm going to add the shrimp now. That's a good sound. It's not going crazy. Okay. So I'm going to check my temperature, make sure they're not too hot. Going to make sure the oil gets the coverage. Okay. And then we'll be back once these get nice and golden. As you can see, the shrimp are browning up very nicely now. They are obviously at this point cooked from a safety perspective, but now what you're doing here is a matter of presentation and what you like. Just keep in mind, you can't do this for too long, because then you will dry out the shrimp. So the initial steps for this was to do it on medium heat, slow cooking, and then right now at the last moment, I've raised the heat up a bit to maybe 3/4 to max, just to help it brown a little bit, and then we'll be taking them out of the pan. So let's see where we are. What do you think, camera lady?
Well, I think they look good.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely done. All right, so I'm going to give it another 30 seconds, and then I'm going to put them on a bowl on the side, and then we'll continue. Let's let it sit there on one side a moment. And you can, brown shrimp like this for any other purposes for that matter. It doesn't have to be Asian. All right, just a little bit longer. Now I'm down to personal appearance. Okay. All right, we're going to begin to take them out. Put them in a separate bowl. Come on now. And once these are out, I'll decide whether I want to add any more oil, because the next step will be browning up the, I should have used something better than this. The next step will be browning up the garlic and ginger. I'm really struggling here, Mom.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, usually I take them out with something else, but they're coming. We have some time. All it's doing is just browning them up. Okay, I'm looking at what's left down here in the pan from an oil perspective. As you can hear the crackling, obviously that's oil and water from the shrimp. But I think I might leave it as such. Okay. Alrighty. At this point, I'm going to be adding some garlic. This is minced garlic. All the quantities, as usual, are on the website. I'm going to be adding some garlic in here, and then let's start with the ginger first. We're browning up some ginger. I'm putting in, well, you follow the recipe or do what you want. Okay, now there's the ginger. There's the garlic. And we're just going to brown that up a little bit. You don't want to burn it, so. Alright, I'm lowering the heat now. Now I'm going to add my onions. Alright. Again, the quantities may look a little small to you, but you got to remember this is just for one person. Alright, onions are in. And momentarily, I have the heat now down back to approximately medium. Alright, and then I'm going to add the carrots and celery. So that's going in right about now. Alright, this is carrots. And now a little celery. Okay, and that's in. I'll let that stir around a little bit. Now most people put the onions in first to kind of release the flavors and such. Now at this point, you are working with firm vegetables, carrots and celery and such. So depending on your preference, how long you cook it is pretty much up to you. But I would say 2-3 minutes probably is realistic. That, I try to watch the oil because if you use too much, it looks like it makes things easier, and it probably does, but it also will make the overall product at the end oily, and that's really not the whole idea of these dishes. Okay, we'll be ready here shortly. Next thing we're going to be adding is the apple cider vinegar. Let's see. It's about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. And half a teaspoon or so of soy sauce. You can add more if you like. Yeah, it's getting soft. I go by the carrot. I can tell. Alright. So, at this point, I'm going to be adding the apple cider vinegar. But one of the first things you want to do, really, is to add some water. Just, you can keep your camera there. And we're adding the water because we're basically going to be creating the sauce from the flavorings in there. So we're going to put some water in here. Okay. I'm going to say maybe start as about 1/4 cup. And to that, I'm going to add a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Like that. And then roughly a half a teaspoon of soy sauce. Soy sauce is a personal taste, so we'll get that in there. Stir that around a little bit. And now we're going to put in a couple of teaspoons of sesame oil. That's about 1. That's about 2. Careful with the sesame oil, very powerful taste. So, if you're not good at eyeing things, then, you definitely measure it. And now we're going to be adding the curry powder. clearly, this is a real personal choice. Because the curry, of course, will make this spicier and spicier. And if you're not careful, you can ruin a dish with any potent spice, like habanero or any of those. So I'm going to start out with I'm going to say a tablespoon of curry. So this is half a teaspoon I'm using, so I'm taking double amount. Okay, hopefully I know what I'm doing. You'll instantly begin to smell the classic Indian curry smell of the curry foods. Stir that up. Like so. Going to put in a little sugar. Your choice. I use stevia natural sugar. You can use regular sugar. Just to help balance the heat from the dish. And now if you look down, if you say, well, not a lot of sauce there, now just add some more water. You can get all those nice flavors off the side of the wok. You smell that, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to throw in the remainder of the red peppers, not the remainder, the actual red peppers. All right. Stir well around. Get it going a bit. And again, if the sauce starts to disappear on you, just make some more. I only suggest that when you do add water, cold water, let the wok heat that back up a little bit. At these temperatures, it doesn't take long. Okay, and then once that water comes back up, I'm going to add the pea pods. You can use snow peas or garden peas, or whatever. Going to stir those around. They're quite crunchy, so depending on how you like it, you can call it a day right there, or you can soften it up a bit. Okay. All right. You can see the classic color from the curry. I've always loved the aroma from curry. So I'm just cooking these till they get the consistency that I like. And the final step will be for me to put back the shrimp into this and heat it all the way through. So, considering the amount of shrimp I have, I'm going to make this a little more saucier. And at the table, once you taste it, the only thing that, depending on how much water you've used, the only thing you'll likely need, if anything, would be maybe a little more soy sauce. I doubt you'll need more sesame, but you can always add any of the sauces the condiments we've used today in at the table. All right, let that come up a little bit, and I'll be putting the shrimp back in. All right. Now, for most folks, they probably would have now said, okay, this is good for me. I prefer mine a little softer. So that's all you see me doing. But if you make this twice, by the time you do it the second time, you will know exactly how long you need to cook to get the consistency that you like. Or you can always grab a fork and pull something out, something like the pea pod or the carrots, to see if they're done. The pea pods went in last, so they'll take the longest, but we're gonna call that done. Now I'm taking the shrimp and I'm putting them back in. And once again, you know, depending on whether you like the sauce to simply coat the shrimp, or do you like a little excess liquid, that's personal. You can change that right now. So essentially what I'm doing is coating it and then heating it through. All right, let me get this plate. Everything looks good down there. What do you think, lady?
Oh, yummy.
Look good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm just going to be dumping it directly. We'll close the heat off and dumping it directly onto my dinner plate. Getting all the yummy goodness out of there. Now you see there's still more sauce adhering to it. You could always swirl that around with a little water, a little soy sauce, whatever you want, and add it. But this looks pretty good to me. All right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there is your curry shrimp stir fry. I'm sure it'll be yummy, and if it isn't, I'll never tell you. But again, the key thing I'd like to give to you is just keep in mind the amount of curry powder you use, because it is spicy depending on which curries you use. Remember, there was, you know, several curries for sure, 3 commons and maybe 7, 8, 9 different kind of curries. Or if you make your own curry mixture, you can control the heat that way. This was simply a bottle of curry powder taken off my ShopRite grocery store shelf. So for my lovely wife Regina,
Have a wonderful night.
thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. And if you get a consensus going as to whether you put the oil in and then heat the wok or later on, let me know. Take care.